Before I go into this video, I just want to say that this is just my personal story. And this is not advice on what you should do if you have any serious addictions. If you have any addictions, please do seek help. I just want to share with you how I quit drinking. Now, this story is interesting enough if I just focus on the drinking. But I think what it actually points to is something much deeper than that. And it's our relationship with negative or incorrect beliefs and how powerful it is to see those, uncover those, and to let them go. I'd seen a thumbnail for a video a few years ago, and it said, "I quit drinking after reading this book." And when I saw that, I thought, is there some connection to Alan Carr? So years before that, I'd read a book on quitting smoking. And it was The Easy Way to Quit Smoking by Alan Carr. So I thought, is there something with that? So I watched the video, and sure enough, it was a book by him. He had written a book also on quitting alcohol. I hadn't known that at the time. Now, before I continue with the alcohol part, I want to go back and just talk about the smoking. So I had been a smoker on and off, mostly off, throughout my adult life. Smoke a little bit here, and then years, nothing. And then smoke a little bit, and never every day. So when I came to Japan, I started smoking again because people around me were smokers and cigarettes were really cheap. Now, I would only smoke when I went out or when I watched movies. And by myself at home, the movies. And it wasn't a big problem, but what I started to notice was that the number of cigarettes I was smoking were increasing. So when I would go out, I remember one night I smoked a pack. And I thought, okay, that's crazy. Or when watching movies, I would smoke 3 cigarettes, then 4, then 5. Okay, let's quit this now before it gets really difficult. So I'd heard about this book from a friend years ago, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. And what's very interesting is he explains all the reasons that you smoke and why they're incorrect. Now, this was revolutionary because I had always thought about addiction as something that you're a slave to. That, of course, I want to quit, but I can't because I'm addicted. But what he showed is that addiction is made up of these incorrect beliefs. I'm not talking about physical addiction. I'm just talking about this psychological addiction. And he talks about the addiction of nicotine also, but just the psychological aspect is based on all these beliefs we have. And if you're doing this action, there is a reason why you're doing it. There is some belief that says there's some good thing to it. So for smoking, well, yeah, I don't want to quit, but smoking makes me feel relaxed. Smoking does this. Smoking does this. So he looked at the most common beliefs that people have regarding smoking and just showed how each one of these was incorrect. Now, after reading this book, same thing, I quit smoking. Coming back to the alcohol. So I saw this video and I thought, you know what? Let's get this book. I want to see. Now, just from my history of drinking, I've been drinking all my life, all my adult life, again. And I grew up in Wisconsin in the United States. Now, if you know the state, Wisconsin, you know that, okay, they like drinking. So I was an average Wisconsinite. So I would go out on the weekends and drink too much. And then throughout the week, I never drank. So of course, many times I got drunk many times, had little problems, but I was lucky that I never had any big problems. However, there were many people around me that had a lot of problems from alcohol. So this was my life. You go out on the weekends, you get drunk, and that's how it is. Now, because I'm married with kids, I had stopped doing that for a while. And just generally getting older, alcohol wasn't that good anymore. And just the effects of it were not that good. So I thought, okay, this is interesting. I really don't care if I quit or don't quit. So let's read the book and see. Now, same thing, same format. He goes over these beliefs that why people drink. Now, they're the standard beliefs, most common beliefs. One thing that's interesting is that a few years before this, I had already got rid of a few of these beliefs. A big one was, so I used to drink because it changed my personality. So I would feel I would have social anxiety when going out, and drinking helped me to become more easygoing and outgoing. And so that's why I drank. But one night I remember, and this again, being mindful, I saw myself drinking, getting that body buzz, and I saw the decision to become more outgoing or easygoing. And I saw that I was making the decision to change my personality based on how my body felt. So it wasn't like me drinking alcohol was actually making me more easygoing. It was making me more likely to decide to become easygoing. Now, when I saw that clearly, that trick was done. I was never changed again by alcohol. My personality never changed. There was a couple of times where I drank too much because I didn't have any input or any signs of, okay, you're drinking too much. Because my personality would not change. So if I'm sitting down, I'm drinking a lot, and I stand up and like, oh my God, I'm way too drunk. So this is one of the tricks that I saw past even before I read the book. So he goes over all of these different reasons. And one of the reasons I drank was in the book. And it's, I like the taste of alcohol. And what he showed was, for that one, that's not true. And if you just look at it, you see that's not true. If I really like the taste of alcohol, I would like just pure alcohol. But of course, that's not the case. What I usually drank when it came to cocktails was I drink vodka mixed with something sweet and sour that would cover the taste of alcohol. So I don't want to taste alcohol. I actually like the cover of alcohol, the mixer. So I saw that this is not true. Now, actually, before I continue, I'm going to talk about, again, when I quit smoking. In that book, he covers all the reasons people smoke. And at that time, I was not doing any introspection. So that was it. Those were the questions I asked myself, and then I finished reading the book. Now, because of that, I didn't go deeper. I didn't look at a possibility of other beliefs. And so it took a while to actually be done with smoking. Occasionally, I would have a cigarette, or the desire to have a cigarette went for quite a while. Now, with alcohol, when I read that book, I'd been doing contemplation for a while, so I knew what to do. And so when I looked at those beliefs of why I drank, and then I know how to test those. So the one thing with the taste. So I drink because it tastes good. Well, what would happen if I could have drinks that taste just like an alcoholic drink? So I have non-alcoholic wine. Would that be okay? So how would I feel if I quit drinking alcohol from now on? And I felt that pull, that desire still there. So that's not it. Okay. So now the other beliefs I had were not in the book. This was things I had to look at myself. And so the next one was I thought they were healthy sometimes. So drinking wine with a meal. Now it seems that these days there's been more research done and that's not true. But at this time I didn't know that. So I thought there were benefits to drinking red wine. So, okay, again, I have to question it and get at it from another angle. What if I had another drink? So some really good vegetable drink or green tea instead of wine. Now those are going to be much healthier than wine. I just drink those. Okay, now how do I feel if I don't drink it from now on? I still felt that pull of desire. So that belief is not it. So what Next was the mouth feel of alcohol. This is very, very specific. I would make a strong kind of peppermint schnapps where I would mix vodka with sugar and peppermint oil. And then I'd put this in the freezer. So when I would drink just a shot after dinner, and I had that feel of that cold and that warm of alcohol. Well, this is something I can only get from alcohol. But I thought, okay, let's just say I could have a drink that's non-alcoholic but would give that same feel. And then I don't have to drink anymore. Or I can't drink anymore. How do I feel? And there still was something there. So it was not that. Now this one, I had to go into more and kind of sit with this and just look at, okay, why? Why do I want to drink? And I felt this kind of flutter of, that's what adults do. And I thought, okay, well, throughout my history, even when I was a kid, you go to a party with adults and kids, the kids drink soda, the adults drink beer or alcohol. That's what adults do. Okay, I could feel that was true for me. But okay, I drink coffee too. That's an adult drink. So what if I just drank coffee? Is that okay? Like, could I quit drinking alcohol? I still felt something. So something more, something deeper. So, okay, being an adult. And then I saw kind of a picture of my grandfather with a cocktail. Ah, okay, that's it. Now, my grandfather served in World War II, and so he grew up at that generation. Now, that generation, these are the people that kind of like Mad Men, if you know that TV show, where everyone, if you have a nice house, you have a bar, and you have a fully stocked bar. And that's what he had in his basement, a fully stocked bar. He even had bar lights. I mean, it was an amazing place. And that's what adults did. And that's what good hosts did. So if someone came over, you had to be ready to serve whatever drink they had. So you had all the mixers, all the different types of alcohol, and even the equipment to make those drinks. That is what a cool person, a stylish person did. And that's what I thought of as my grandfather. He was a cool guy. And, I see that picture of him with a cocktail. Now, I never saw him drunk, so it was just drinking. But I saw the socially, the interaction of adults drinking and being a good host and giving drinks, but it was centered on him. When I saw that, I thought, okay, but I have other connections with him. I don't need to have this connection of alcohol. Like, I can let that go and still be connected with him. And when I saw that, again, I asked that question to check. If I quit drinking, how would I feel? And now I felt okay. That was it. Now, in my last video on anger, I talked about levels of habit and how there's a level of habit where it's the action. So this would be actually drinking. And then there's another layer of habit that is connected to just our opinions, our beliefs, psychological. So when I saw this, there still was a habit there where I would occasionally have a drink, but it was always empty. Every time I had it, I was always disappointed. It reminded me of the movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, where he has a part of his memory erased, and then he goes back to that erased memory, and it's all just blurry and disoriented. It's like you're trying to relive something that's gone. That's what I felt. The last time I drank was a month ago. It was on my birthday. So I made pizza for my family, and because I thought it would be nice, we drank Coke, which we don't usually. And I had a can of alcohol, vodka, and lemon flavor. So as I'm sitting there drinking this can, so I got to finish it, I'm looking and thinking, I'd just rather have some Coke. That'd be much better. And I just saw that there was no more reason to drink. And what I noticed was, again, that was another layer of habit. And what I was left with and still feel now is now that habit of trying to relive those memories, but there is a sensation of loss, of missing that. I can actually think back at those times when I watched a movie with a drink or hung out with friends and had drinks and the feeling of that alcohol, and I miss it. I miss the enjoyment of drinking. But I know that it's gone. If I drink, anytime I drink, it's gone. If I feel the buzz, I don't like it anymore. I don't like anything about it. And so all that's left is that feeling of loss. So that's another layer of habit, or another layer of that addiction or connection to alcohol. But now that also will fade. Thinking about this made me realize that maybe reading the book on How to Quit Smoking by Alan Carr was one of the first things that made me start doing contemplation. Because I love the idea of looking at beliefs and seeing that these beliefs affect how we act, what is considered our personality. And if we actually look at these negative things, if there's a part of me that I don't like, if there's an action that I don't like, well, look at why I'm doing it. There's a reason why I'm doing it. Well, look at it and see. This was something even when I looked at drinking, I was quite okay with if I looked at a belief and it was true. Alcohol is good. I would have been, oh, okay, I'll drink. So I was open to the fact that maybe I would find a belief that was actually correct. But instead, what I found is there was no reason. And then it's done. But of course, there is that process of letting go. And it could take more time, or it could be quicker with different people, different personalities, and also how that is entwined with the rest of our life. Because I had been already quitting alcohol for years and letting go and not drinking, this was not a big thing for me. If I were an alcoholic, well, it would be a different story. And that's why, and this is just my story. This is not advice on what you should do. And I would not even recommend on something like this, something that is serious. Instead, I would recommend it with little things that you do that you'd like to stop. Perhaps eating this sweet after dinner, or some other action that you could get rid of. It would be okay. And if you don't get rid of, again, that's kind of okay too. Test it out and look at the reasons why you do it. And even if you think, well, there's no reason to do it. No, there is a reason. If you're doing it, there's a reason. What is it? And if you can't think of one, okay, just make up a reason. Because whatever reason you make up will actually be the reason that you're doing it. And see what happens. Just try these little things, little addictions, little things that if you let go or don't let go, no problem. And just see. And I like to hear how it goes. Until next time.